Hello, how are you? I hope you're good. Today we're doing another little experiment. This is gonna be a two-parter, so welcome to the part one. We're gonna kind of test whether buying books purely based on your preferred cover designs going to align.
Judging a book by its cover.
Thanks. Would your taste in design, specifically cover designs, obviously designed specifically to attract a certain demographic that then technically like the book, right? Like it's supposed to grab your attention. Or are those two things not correlated? But in the words of Logan, we are just going to judge books by their covers. So the plan is we are going to travel to a bookstore near us. Actually not near us, but easiest to get to. Without touching the city center. So no toppings this time, but if you do want to see me peruse toppings with yourselves and get a little haul, I will link that video down below because it did happen but a month ago. And then I'm going to do my hardest to not read anything of the book whilst browsing and only pick books based on their covers, and the covers have to be something that I really like. Whether that's the trend of the design, the elements, I don't know. I guess we'll see how I feel. I am not going to consciously try and find a genre that I think I would like. Obviously, it's going to be hard to avoid going by genre, seeing that that is how they are separated in the bookstore, and it's also very blatantly clear which books are what genre. I'm probably going to go for like a mixture. I'm going to aim for 5 books because that is usually the amount of spins I do for the TB avatar, and that's the number we're going with. And then I'll come back and I'll read the synopsis for the first time. So obviously that excludes any of the books that I'm already aware of and I know what they're about. Luckily for us, I am very lazy and unaware of things that are being released. So that is going to actually play to our advantage because I don't think I will encounter a lot of books that I know a huge amount about. A lot of the time is kind of like word of mouth. I will pick books that I heard great things about without even knowing what they're about specifically, but I am going to probably go for books that I don't know anything about. Like nothing. Maybe I've seen them somewhere, but I don't even retain the memory of me seeing it somewhere. So we're gonna go for those. The hope is that some of them are going to be something that I think I will like either way, but it is totally possible that I will get tropes or settings that I despise. But this study is very much bad because we only have 2 subjects. Logan's actually going to partake, but I don't know if it's gonna actually carry this out. So possibly 1 subject, maybe 2. The second part, which is not in this video, is a future video, is going to be a month of reading those books, maybe shorter, probably a month though, maybe 2, where obviously I will test those theories and see if I did enjoy them. I thought it was a very fun idea. Is it in any way legit? I don't know. Is this actually gonna test anything? Probably not, but it sounds fun. We're gonna go now. I think I explained. Did I explain it okay, Logan? Mm-hmm. Did you get the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
pretty book. Dragon.
Don't show mine. Oh, what did you get?
A Natural History of Dragons. A memoir by Lady Trent.
I have heard of this, so I couldn't get it for myself, but I probably would because I do also really like the dragon kind of anatomy cover.
From Skirlin to the farthest reaches of Eriga, Lady Trent is known to be the world's preeminent dragon naturalist, who brought the study of dragons into the clear light of modern science. But before she became the illustrious figure we now know, there was a bookish young woman whose passion for learning defied the stifling conventions of her day. Here at last, in her own words, is a true story of pioneering spirit who risked her reputation, her prospects, and her fragile flesh to study her scientific curiosity, of how she sought true love and happiness despite her lamentable eccentricities, and of her thrilling expedition to the perilous mountains of Vistrana, where she made the first of many historic discoveries that would change the world forever. I bet you the discovery she made was dragons.
Okay, so we're obviously back. An unfortunate thing happened in the sense that I got a little bit more. A few more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But, you know, one of the books had a buy one get one free sticker, and then she was like, you should get this one, and I, person that I am, said yes. So I was actually quite lucky that the one that we did go to wasn't the biggest one, because I actually found this way trickier. Just to detach the part of my brain that knows what type of covers are normally what type of book, because I really wanted to remove that aspect and just go for the covers. And then my next challenge was the fact that I really liked a lot of aspects of a lot of covers, and it was really difficult to pick because I don't think I'm like fully obsessed about any of them. It's just like the aspects of them that I really like, and they just had a little bit more of those aspects compared to some other books. I thought it would be, you know, in and out, but we spent a good amount of time browsing that, so that is why I'm saying it's lucky that it wasn't a bigger shop. I'm very excited to see what these books are actually about. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Right off the bat, I realized that I'm kind of in a pickle because I saw quite a few books that I really love the covers, and I picked 2 from those that I've definitely seen before because they're so beautiful and like I remember the covers, but I don't know too much about them, but they're very obviously mythology retellings, which I don't know if I like. I guess we will figure out because I do have 2 of them now. So the first one is, how do you pronounce that? I'm not actually even sure. It's a beautiful cover, obviously. You gotta love the aesthetic. Like, you just have to love it. I'm also not too familiar with a lot of mythology things, so even if it is a retelling of something, it doesn't necessarily mean that I know what it is. So, I guess we'll figure out. Oh, I don't know if oh, there's nothing under this jacket. That's fine. This one says, the greatest power we women can own is that which we take in secret. 17 years ago, King Odysseus sailed to war with Troy, taking with him every man of fighting age from the Isle of Ithaca. Ithaca? How would you pronounce it?
I don't know, babe.
Okay. None of them has returned, and the women of Ithaca have been left behind to run the kingdom. Penelope was barely into womanhood when she wed Odysseus. While he lived, her position was secure, but now, years on, speculation is mounting that her husband is dead, and suitors are beginning to knock at her door. No one man is strong enough to claim Odysseus' empty throne, not yet, but as everyone waits for the balance of power to tip, Penelope knows that any choice she makes could plunge Ithaca into bloody civil war. So, regrets. No, it's fine, and I'm sure it's great. That doesn't sound super interesting to me. Maybe I will be surprised though. Like, I know we're focusing on women here, but it just sounds like it's gonna be a lot about the men who are coming there to like take the throne, I guess. But it could be good. It just really depends how it's written, obviously. So I guess we'll see. Let me know if you read it. But just from the synopsis, I probably know why I didn't get it before. I probably read it before as well, but I can't mind it. And the next one was Elektra, which again, so much foil, such a pretty cover. Are you kidding me? And I definitely have seen this one before. Is this like in the same type of vein? Is this the same publisher and everything? No, it's not. Okay. Super pretty. Very, very pretty. So let's see what this is about. So it's an Ariadne retelling. The house of Atreus is cursed, a bloodline trained by generational cycle of violence and vengeance. This is the story of 3 women, their fates inextricably tied to this curse, and the fickle nature of men and gods. Clytemnestra? Oh my god, this whole thing is just gonna be me not pronouncing things correctly. The sister of Helen, wife of Agamemnon? Her hopes of averting the curse are dashed when her sister is taken to Troy, by the feckless Paris. Her husband raises a great army against them and determines to win whatever the cost. Cassandra, princess of Troy and cursed by Apollo to see the future but never to be believed when she speaks of it. She is powerless in her knowledge that the city will fall. Elektra, the youngest daughter of Clytemnestra, oh my god, and the other one? Elektra is horrified by the bloodletting of her kin. But can she escape the curse, or is her own destiny also bound by violence? So, out of these 2, this one sounds like it has a little bit more going on to it. At least we have the 3 sisters. The middle one piques my interest the most, the one that can see the future but no one believes her. That I can fuck with. None of them are necessarily something that I would pick if it weren't for the cover. Like, this is the only way that maybe we will discover things in the second part of this one, I think, when I read them, and maybe I will fall in love with the whole thing. I guess we'll see. I'll remove the book that I got because of the half price thing. Is a Scottish one, but I will talk about this in a haul separately. Okay, so the next 2 I initially kind of grabbed to later decide which one I'm gonna go with, and then failed to do that. So I just took both of them. They both have rabbits of them, which is like an ongoing thing for a while now. But one of them is definitely giving Donnie Darko vibes. And I just really loved how unsettling, like, I just made eye contact with this thing when I was in the shop. And it just never really let me go. So I got this. It's called The Death of Bunny Monroe. So we'll see what this is about. And then the other one is another bunny, but it's just more kind of, like, I love that you see the skeleton. And it's just also kind of unnerving, which is clearly something that I like. And this one actually has, like, edges, which was not a contributed factor, but still. So let's start with the Donnie Darko one. The world is a hard place to be good in. Struggling to keep a grip on reality after his wife's death, Bunny Monroe does the only thing he can think of. With his young son in tow, he hits the road. An epic chronicle of one man's judgment, The Death of Bunny Monroe is also an achingly tender portrait of the relationship between father and son. Oh, and that's it. That's the synopsis. I like the madness aspect of it. There's obviously gonna be grief involved. There has to be something bizarre because of the cover, I feel. It cannot be just the name. The father-son relationship explanation could be nice, could be a mix. The road trip also could be nice, could be a mix, but it has this type of unhingedness about it that I find this quite promising. I actually quite think it could be fun. This one's called Starve Acre. Okay. The worst thing possible has happened. Richard and Juliet Willoughby's son, have a son again. Evan? It's with the W. Do you still spell it as Evan? I'm not sure. Has died suddenly at the age of 5. Oh, again. Ewan, maybe. So we have grief again. So these 2 actually, maybe the bunny thing is like a theme for a reason. I'm not sure. Starve Acre, their house. Okay, it's a house name. By the Moors. Was to be full of life, but is now a haunted place. Oh shoot. Maybe they also will leave for like a road trip. That would be kind of funny. Juliet, convinced Ewan still lives there in some form, seeks the help of the Beacons, a seemingly benevolent group of occultists. Oh, this took a turn. Richard, to try to keep the boy out of his mind, has turned his attention to the field opposite the house, where he patiently digs the barren dirt in search of a legendary oak tree. An interesting grief.
Why is he digging the dirt for the tree? Like, doesn't it go out of the dirt?
I'm assuming maybe it's like an acorn or something. I don't know. Starve Acre is a novel about the way in which grief splits the world into 2 and how, in searching for hope, we can so easily unearth horror. Nice. I'm actually super excited about this one. Maybe even more than this one, but both of them I am way more excited than these two, which is interesting because obviously these are like kind of fantasy, I'm assuming. Well, the Elektra definitely is the other one. I'm not sure. There was nothing fantasy-ish apart from like the mythology from the synopsis, so I'm not quite sure. But these sound cool, and maybe it's the season as well. It's a little bit more onto a horror, but they both sound psychological as well. But could be a miss. It really depends. Interesting. But those two, I probably would pick up even if not for the cover. So far, I mean, 50-50. Okay, the next one, and it's called Unwell Woman, A Journey Through Medicine and Myth in a Man-Made World. Oh, this could be a non-fiction. But the reason I picked this cover is that I am a big fan of the floral elements incorporated in the anatomy type of design. I have another one, I have a couple actually that fit that kind of template, and I am clearly a fan of it. This grabbed my attention. This one's not my favorite of the type, but it was the one that I spotted basically. It's quite big, so I'm intrigued to see what's inside. There's something. Oh, there's some like clippings from like newspapers. Okay. Medicine carries the burden of its own troubling history. Over centuries, women's bodies have been demonized and demeaned until we feared them, felt ashamed of them, were humiliated by them. But as doctors, researchers, campaigners, and most of all as patients, women have continuously challenged medical orthodoxy. It's not a good pronunciation there. Medicine's history has always been and is still being rewritten by women's resistance, strength, and incredible courage. In this groundbreaking history, Eleanor Clayhorn unpacks the roots of the perpetual misunderstanding, mystification, and misdiagnosis of women's illness and pain. From the wandering womb of ancient Greece to today's shifting understanding of hormones, menstruation, and menopause, Unwell Woman is the revolutionary story of women who have suffered, challenged, and rewritten medical misogyny. I actually think this is going to be amazing. I really hope they have an audiobook, as I do find I take in nonfiction better that way. And it's quite big, so it might be a case of like bite-size, long-term listen. But I am really interested. I've read on the topic quite a bit, not even on purpose, but because I obviously have chronic pain. So this is something that I think is super interesting, and I would buy this if I read only the synopsis. So interesting. Though the size of it is worrying me. I hope it doesn't like drag out and it's still, yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. I guess we will see. Over 400 pages, which is quite a bit. Okay. The next one is just like fun. I like a spotlight design as well. I like it when there's something in the middle. And this one's obviously super simplistic, and it's not necessarily one that I would normally gravitate towards, but I did. And it's called Sour Grapes. Oh, it's brown underneath. Rare. And this is the other side. So, I'm not even sure what type of... I have no idea what this is. Like, I don't even know. You know, like with the mythology ones, you can kind of tell from the cover. This, I have no idea. When the sleepy English village of Green Bottom lol, hosts its first literary festival, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the book world descend upon its leafy lanes. But the villagers are not prepared for the peculiar habits, petty rivalries, and unspeakable desires of the authors. And they are certainly not equipped to deal with Wilberforce Selfram, the aging enfant terrible who wreaks havoc wherever he goes. Sour Grapes is a hilarious satire of the literary world which takes no prisoners as it skewers authors, agents, publishers, and reviewers alike. Interesting. Not what I was expecting, but I wasn't actually expecting much at all because I had no idea what this is. This could have been a children's story, could have been like, I don't know. Of all the things that it could have been, I'm actually quite happy that this is a satirical book about publishing. I don't know. This is one of that would be on the fence. I don't know if I would pick this up otherwise, but being that my full-time job is somewhat immersed in both the reviewer side of things and publishing as well, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. On to the last two books. The first one is the first one that I actually decided to get. The face with the angel wings. I like that type of, again, it's similar to the floral elements with the human body. Anything that messes with the human body and makes something different, I like. And this one really just piqued my interest. It's quite a short one, so that's also quite nice, accidentally. It's called The Harpy, and I know it's going to be like either a thriller, a horror, or like a detective thing, something like that, because it was in that section. But other than that, not quite sure. So let's see. Lucy lives with her husband Jake and their 2 boys. Her life is devoted to the children, her days mapped out by their finely tuned routine. Until a man calls one afternoon with a shattering message. His wife has been having an affair with Lucy's husband. Oh no. Domestic thrillers, my least favorite. This did not give off a domestic thriller vibes, but let's see. He thought she should know. Lucy is distraught. She decides to stay with Jake, if only for the children's sake, but in order to even the score, they agree that she will hurt him 3 times. Jake will not know when the hurt is coming or what form it will take, and so begins a delicate game of crime and punishment from which there is no return. Wouldn't buy myself if I read that, but let's see some of the blurbs, because sometimes those hype me up. Genuine thrilling read, one long beautiful scream, utterly compelling, a gripping psychologically astute account of a relationship in free fall. I mean, it could be nice, and it is short, so that's that. If it was long, I would cry. It could surprise me. It does sound like it could get unhinged, so that would be the saving grace. And then the last one is probably like the most random. Normally, this is not a cover that I would, say that it's beautiful. But we weren't necessarily going for beautiful covers. We were going for covers that, like, catch your attention, right? And this one just looks like a meme. It just looks dumb. And me and Logan both noticed it. And it just, I don't know, it's just like some sort of half... What is that? Like, what is that? Is that a penis on a snowman that's half melted with like a broomstick sticking out as well? Like, what is that? It says Diary of an Oxygen Thief by Anonymous, so good start. Again, a fairly short one, which is good because I went over my limit. Hurt people. Say Holden Caulfield was an alcoholic and Lolita was a photographer's assistant, and somehow they met in Bright Light's big city. He's blinded by love, she by ambition. Diary of an Oxygen Thief is an honest, hilarious, and heart-rending novel, but above all, a very realistic account of what we do to each other and what we allow to have done to us. Huh. Okay, the New York Magazine blurb says kinky, artsy, and swoon-worthy. What is the genre of this? Like, what is it? The other one just is, the author does a great job, I loved it. Okay, but what is it about? First, he steals the oxygen from you, then he spits it right back in your face. One of the most interesting and controversial encounters I've made through a book. Okay, well, I'm intrigued. Oh, so if I had to guess... Oh my god. Why is there so many? Why did I do this? I don't know why, and I hope I'm wrong, but I'm so skeptical of this. I just it sounds... Hopefully it's better than the synopsis make it sound, which a lot of books are. I'm not the biggest fan of synopsis in general. That is why a lot of the time I skip them. If I had to guess which one's going to be my favorite, there's some good contenders. I think Sour Grapes could be very interesting, especially for someone who's involved in a lot of different aspects of the deal. I'm thinking this could be really good. And I also have super high hopes for this now. I am a little bit concerned about the size because sometimes I feel when nonfiction goes super long, it's just an editing issue, but hopefully that is not the case and there is a lot to say here. An interesting turnaround. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought and what you think I'll think. And I can't wait till the second part. I don't know exactly when it's gonna be because I have too many plans for like monthly things and also crap reading habits, but hopefully soonish, and then we can wrap this up. See what happens. See how cover buying has treated me. Anyway, stay awesome, stay kind, and I will see you very soon. Bye!